Okay, so this is the Trauma Informed Astrology discussion group for early August 2024. So let's actually start with a settling exercise. Um, so let's just start, yeah, if your feet are on the ground, that's great, or just, just being comfortable. Um, so just notice your body, notice your legs, feeling your sits bones, feeling what you're sitting on, noticing gravity's pull on your body, and just seeing where your breathing is at right now. So just checking in, am I breathing more, shallow, deeper, belly breaths? Am I just breathing into my chest? And it's okay, wherever you're breathing right now, just be there and just noticing, just being curious. And then now I want to invite you to put your hands on your hips. So if you want to put your hands just anywhere on your hip bones, on the sides, on the front, it really doesn't matter. The idea is to bring attention and awareness to your hips and pelvis. So bringing awareness to the hips under your hands. And then when you're ready, breathing into the space between your hands several times, maybe taking 2 or 3 breaths into your hips and pelvis, if that's possible, if it's relatively easy for you. If not, it's okay, doing the best you can. And then I invite you to relax your arms, relax your hands, so you don't have to have them on your hips anymore. And noticing what feels different inside now. So bring that awareness and attention to your lower body. Does your breath feel different now? Are you breathing deeper now? Is there more awareness in your lower body? Certainly more awareness in your hips and pelvis, if not your legs. So just taking a minute to notice what feels different inside. So that settling exercise is an easy one to do, hands on hips. And we just did we did a check-in beforehand, how's your body, how's your breathing. Then we did hands on hips, bringing that awareness and presence down to the lower body. And then we checked in briefly. How are you doing? What are you noticing inside? What feels different? So yeah, this is an easy exercise you can do almost anywhere. If you're seated or even lying down, um, it's pretty innocuous. So even if you're on a plane or on public transportation, you can probably do this pretty easily if it feels comfortable for you. Um, so let's move into the discussion group topics today. So I just threw together a quick and easy PowerPoint. So that's this here. Okay, so Yeah, so today we're going to talk about upcoming courses and events that Trauma Informed Astrology is offering, that I'm offering as well. And then we'll talk about how to stay grounded and practice quality self-care when working with trauma. So we'll talk briefly about that in a few minutes. So, um, current and upcoming offerings, we'll talk about that. There'll be a little pause in case Donna, if you have any questions, um, and we'll see if anybody else joins the group here. But I am recording it for several people who wanted the recording. Yeah, then we'll unpack what does it mean to practice self-care? What does quality self-care look like, especially in the context of working with overwhelm? Okay, so courses that are available now and upcoming events. Um, so one course that we are finished with is Nervous System Foundations. So this is a nice course. It's a really beautiful set of practices. So it includes somatic tools, embodiment tools, as well as didactic learning about what is resilience? Unpacking resilience. What is trauma? What are the trauma-informed principles? We spend an entire hour unpacking the trauma-informed principles. What does it look like to work with those 6 principles? Um, and we also get into the autonomic nervous system. What does it mean when we say sympathetic branch of the autonomic nervous system, parasympathetic branch? And then we talk about the vagus nerve. What is the social nervous system? What is the polyvagal system? What does that even mean? So we unpack all of that in the Nervous System Foundations course. And there are even 2 demonstrations showing how to put some of those tools into practice. Um, and then we even unpack the demonstrations, talking about how to use the tools. There's only a little bit of astrology in nervous system foundations. So it is a course that would be good for yoga teachers, therapists, nurses, medical practitioners, but also really anybody who's interested in learning more about the nervous system, learning more about these somatic tools. How can I be uh, more grounded, more embodied? So it's really comprehensive. In fact, the course is over 16 hours of material. So we really flesh out all these different topics, including looking at how do we resource the nervous system? And then we mentioned that a little bit in the demonstrations as well. So Nervous System Foundations is ready and available now. So that's exciting. And then we're currently working on, and right now the Trauma Informed Astrology team is myself, Emily Lamoureux, and Michelle Anderson. We are working on level 2, so unpacking the outer planets, Western astrology, and the polyvagal system. So here we start to look at how does the nervous system how does it uh, show up in the astrology chart when there's overlap? What's the cross section of the nervous system and the astrology chart? What do the planets mean in regards to the nervous system? And so we go deeper into the astrology side of things in level 2. Especially we unpack the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Saturn, and what do those planets mean regarding the polyvagal system, the nervous system in general. So yeah, so we're really excited about the material that we are producing. We have great recordings happening, and between the 3 of us, um, all totaled, we have over 60 hours. No, sorry, 60 years of astrology experience combined. So we really are having excellent conversations and discussions around these topics, and we all bring different facets outside experience, whether it's working with yoga, working with meditation. Michelle is a nurse practitioner, so she has a lot of Western medical wisdom and knowledge that she brings to the table as well. And then I am working on a well, it's a shorter course. It's called Liberating the Space Element. That should be ready here in a few weeks. In Liberating the Space Element course, it's going to be about 3.5, maybe close to 4 hours of material. We really unpack these four techniques, these four exercises, because one of them is a series of holds. You do different holds on the body to work with the nervous system, to work with settling, to create more space in the body, in the nervous system, and even in the subtle energy body. So I talk all about that in this shorter course. And the Liberating the Space Element course is going to be really affordable. It'll just be $75, but for 3.5 hours of material, that's a great deal. And that should definitely be ready by the end of August, if not by September 1st. So I'm really excited about that. And yeah, and so we're doing 2 discussion groups per month, at least here in August and September. So some upcoming discussion group topics. We're looking at what is resilience, and I'm just gonna come out of full screen there. So yeah, we're looking at what is resilience. Um, just looking at my notes here. How do we nurture resilience? In September, we'll talk about the functional range. So when you talk about resilience, there is this sort of level of capacity, right? What's my capacity to stay present in the midst of stressors? And that's basically what resilience is in a nutshell. And then when we talk about the functional range or the window of tolerance, that's sort of a symbolic form of resilience. So how do we increase our capacity? And then we'll even talk about in the 4th discussion group in September, we'll talk about some obstacles that can arise when working with trauma. So really interesting discussions coming up down the road. So Donna, any questions? I know you're the only person here, so no pressure. If you don't have any questions, no problem.
No, I'm just interested. I'm on a personal journey and learning a lot of new things. And I remembered sessions with you many years ago now.
Yeah.
And when I saw your emails, I'm learning to respond to messages of different sorts that I get from, I call it my all and everything.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, well, I was clearing my emails because that's a ritual I go through to keep the box clear.
Yeah.
And yours came up right at the time. Well, that was a message I was supposed to listen to you. So here I am.
Great. Well, yeah, and thanks for the reminder. So I offer personal sessions and I even do this work, somatic process work can be done over long distance. So I have a number of clients who I work with on Zoom. And I also offer mentoring. So if anybody wants mentoring in how do I work with difficult clients or difficult situations with people, or even mentoring around astrology, I offer that as well. Yeah, well, Donna, I'm so glad you could make it to this discussion group. I was going to record it anyway because several people asked for the recording. But having an audience helps to slow me down and just check in, if making sure this is all pretty clear. Um, but so yeah, so now we can start discussing how to stay grounded and what does it mean to practice quality self-care, especially when working with trauma. Yeah, okay, so this is just a little outline for me. Um, Yeah, so first and foremost, um, I want to express my gratitude. So before we get started with the topic of practicing self-care, um, if you happen to be someone who works with overwhelmed clients or working with wounded individuals, thank you so much. This work is not easy. It can be very uncomfortable at times. There can be a big learning curve. So holding an altruistic motivation, wanting to benefit people and to help reduce their suffering is powerfully healing in and of itself. And then if we have some skills to help people renegotiate trauma, that can be so beneficial. So I'm really grateful for my own heart teachers, really grateful for my own mentors who've helped me get here. I've been very fortunate to practice this work for 19 years now, so I've been doing it a while. And I'm thankful to be able to offer some of these tools and skills to others now to give back. So, yeah, so now we can get into what does it mean to be grounded? What does it mean to practice quality self-care? Um, do you have a question, Donna?
Well, I couldn't find down here raise hand.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, uh, you you brought up a question, and sometimes I wonder, why am I here?
Uh-huh.
Right now, I am working with someone with Alzheimer's,
Uh-huh.
and this person's caretaker um, has PTSD. So I'm the power
Uh,
of attorney, so it's a really important role. And I don't know if any of what you have to say, but I would put me in the category of working with someone with a type of trauma,
yeah.
because both of these people now have a type of trauma, and that
Uh,
had not occurred to me before. So I'm actually very happy that I tuned in.
yeah. Yeah. Being a caretaker for somebody can be a lot. In this line of work, we talk about vicarious trauma or secondary trauma. Even so, so if I work with 10 clients a week, if five of those have pretty heavy traumas, pretty difficult situations, I really need to take good care of myself because I can get what's called vicarious trauma as well, sort of a lighter trauma that it comes with the burden of caring for others. And so that's why we're having this conversation today. Yeah, so thanks for sharing that, Donna. Um, and so yeah, so what does self-care even mean? What does it mean to practice quality self-care? When I sit with this question and when I look through my notes, what comes to mind is what helps me to feel most like myself. That I want more of that in my life. What helps me to feel most like myself? What helps me to feel joyful? What helps me to feel like I can come back to myself? I can pour myself back into myself. This is really important, right? A lot of us, if we work full time, or if we have a family to take care of, we often don't have time to pause and reflect on what helps me to feel like myself, right? What actually brings me joy? But taking some time, even once a week, several times a month, to check in. How am I doing? Right? Helping to take care of this person who has Alzheimer's or dementia is a lot. That's a lot to be with, to hold space for. And so also asking the question, what helps me to experience the felt sense of safety in my body? Where do I feel a sense of safety? So do I have a sanctuary? Can I move toward this felt sense of safety? So, as a mentor, as someone who's coming into more teaching, I throw words out there like feeling grounded, feeling centered, coming back into alignment. And these things are very important. However, I think the most important thing of all is a sense of safety, right? If I'm having to constantly be wary and feel vigilant all the time, do I really feel safe? Is it safe to rest down? Is it safe to let down my guard? Is it safe to surrender? So these are important questions. Um, so yeah, where in my life do I feel nourished? Where in my life do I feel held? Where do I feel a felt sense of safety? So we need this felt sense. We need this sanctuary somewhere in our lives, ideally. Is there somewhere that it's easier for me to express my boundaries? Is there somewhere I feel seen and heard? Is there somewhere that I can feel safer to rest down and surrender? That's really important. It's really big. And so this is what I mean when I talk about practicing quality self-care. So unpacking that further. And so let's say more about that. What does it mean to practice quality self-care? So I understand that life is this great tapestry, right? Of course, there are ups and downs. Life happens, stress happens, positive stress, challenging stress. We fall down, we get back up. Hopefully, we ask for help. Hopefully, we continue to move towards growth and maturity. But understanding we all take a couple steps back from time to time. So we are bringing more consciousness to the healing process. We can admit that we are human. We have wounds. We can be intentionally vulnerable. So taking these, hopefully we take 2 or 3 steps forward, occasionally take one step back. That's normal. We all get triggered from time to time. This is normal. Even someone who sees me for 3 years, there'll still be, life will still throw curveballs at us. Um, so if you happen to be a trauma therapist or a coach or an astrologer or a medical practitioner or a yoga teacher, or someone who's working with someone you care about, working with someone with Alzheimer's or dementia, um, the majority of us have also gone through our own overwhelming experiences. Unfortunately, living in this sort of rat race culture, there's not a lot of time to slow down and to process big emotions, right? We most of us need more time. So understanding we've been through some trauma ourselves. We desperately don't want this to be true, right? Sometimes it's hard to admit, like that was really hard. That was really, if I might use a technical term here, that was really shitty. Um, Admitting these wounds, being honest about what happened, getting support around it. Can I start to metabolize my own trauma so that I can start to benefit other people? Right? If I'm just walking around constantly being wounded and having this stuff be unresolved, it's going to be triggered quite often. Um, so we understand that there is a lot of beauty in life. There's a lot of light. There are joyful events. Connecting with people. We can share with others. We can lean into support. But there's also a shadow side of life. We can admit our woundedness. We can acknowledge that I still have some work to do on myself. And then we can be better able to hold space for healing these deeper wounds in others. It requires a lot of energy, a lot of awareness to stay grounded, to stay present, to stay centered when in the face of overwhelm. Working with overwhelmed and overwhelming people is challenging, can be uncomfortable at times. Um, yeah, so attuning with overwhelmed people, overwhelmed clients, holding space for them to process big emotions. If we happen to do body work, feeling the felt sense of overwhelm under our hands can be really difficult. This is big stuff. This can be really uncomfortable stuff at times. So therefore, it's imperative that we are taking good care of ourselves, right? So just to stress that. Um, as a little anecdote here, I used to work at a spa for 2 or 3 years. And so I was around a number of body workers, a number of massage therapists. And even today, I'm still astounded if I talk to a body worker, if I talk to a massage therapist, and I ask them, oh, what do you do for self-care? How often do you get massage? How often do you get body work? And rarely, so thankfully, this is only, I know of 1 or 2 people who've told me this. I'm very surprised when they tell me they don't get much body work. Someone who does massage therapy full time, 30 hours a week, that's a lot. So if they only get body work a few times a year, that's not enough support in my opinion. This is just my opinion, but we all need somebody to help us discharge from time to time. We all need somebody who's comfortable holding space for us and our process, right? This is really big. This is really important. We need this safe space to deeply rest down. We can let down our guard and feel held. We can feel this felt sense of safety. And I understand that body work can be expensive, right? So this is a privilege. This is a luxury for a lot of people. But is it possible to get one session a month, or is it even, is there some way I can exchange or barter for quality body work, or even therapy, for instance? Maybe my insurance can cover some of it. Um, yeah. So shifting gears a little bit. So ideally. So this is very ideal, and I understand a lot of us don't have uh, ample spare time, right? If I have a family, if I'm working full time, if I'm working 2 jobs, I'm lucky if I have half a day off per week, right? So what I'm about to talk about is another luxury, I think. But it would be good if we have a daily practice of cultivation. So cultivating some connection to my inner self. So whether that's just going for a walk, going hiking, yoga, meditation, qigong, spending time in nature, breath work, something, even 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, it starts to add up, right? In this world we live in, there are many distractions. There are many pollutants, whether viruses or even EMF radiation, electromagnetic stuff. And of course, there's all sorts of, food additives, et cetera. So there's many ways to get distracted. Screen time and social media, to name a few. We need a way to come back into alignment with relative ease. If I have a daily practice of something, if I'm doing stretching every day, a little bit of yoga every day, if I'm going for a nice walk in nature, 5 days a week, even 3 or 4 days a week would be very helpful. That would help me to come back to myself, to come back to what do I need in this moment? What do I need today? What do I need this week? Can I check in about that? If I'm really busy, if I have 3 kids to take care of course I don't have a lot of spare time. Sometimes life feels a little out of control. It happens, right? If I'm working with someone who has Alzheimer's and they're having a really hard time, that might be a really tough day for me. I understand. But even 15 minutes a day starts to add up, because then we start to nurture reserves of energy. We start to build up reserves of resilience, and we build our capacity. So if it's possible, if we can cultivate our vitality and our chi, if we can cultivate and nourish our hearts on a deeper level, that's really beneficial. Then we're talking about high quality self-care. So we can also do this by receiving body work or therapy, acupuncture, etc. But even just spending time in nature, spending time with the natural elements can be very beneficial. Whether it's the water element of spending time, near a body of water, a lake, spending time near the ocean, going to the beach. I'm fortunate. I live just 3 hours away from the ocean. I can go to the beach once or twice a year and really drink in that healthy water element of the ocean. But being in the earth element of the mountains, hiking in the woods, taking in the wood element, it can be beneficial. Taking, maybe once a year, can I be a part of a ritual involving sacred fire? Some people do solstice fires, like bonfires. That might be worth exploring. Um, yeah, so we can deepen our self-care if we want to, with intention. It does take, we have to put some thought into it and become more disciplined around it. Um, so if we work with trauma on a regular basis, we understand that trauma healing is not a linear process. That's why it's so difficult to learn these skills. If there was a one size fits all fix, we wouldn't be spending so much time learning about, what does it mean to repair the nervous system. So there is progress. We start to bring more awareness and understanding to our own process. We start to bring more consciousness into the body, hopefully, if we're getting somatic oriented therapy or body work, then we can bring more consciousness into the body. But we should not expect things to be completely healed. This really isn't realistic. If I have spent 30 years of my life building my body, building my nervous system around these adaptive defenses, building my body and nervous system around these compensation strategies, asking a person to change overnight, asking a person to change even in the next 6 months is not kind. It's not realistic for that matter, right? So we go slow. We take baby steps. We start to bring more understanding, more compassion to our process. We can have more acceptance of ourselves, and then we can forgive ourselves easier, and then we can forgive others easier too. When we see the bigger picture, when we understand our early wounding, this is so critical. But it takes time. It takes, having a good teacher, having a good mentor is important with this stuff. And we need to understand that we all regress from time to time. The more we heal, thankfully, it will take a bigger and bigger stressor to cause this regression. But life can still throw curveballs our way. We can still experience some big new stressor that we've never seen before. And that, if I regress around that, it makes sense. It's okay. It happens to all of us. We're going to take a couple of steps back from time to time. So, yeah, so over time, the more we heal, it takes more and more to have us fall into that familiar hole. And now, after we do more healing on ourselves, then we climb out of that hole faster. We can lean into support. We have more tools. We develop the experience and the felt sense that it's going to be okay in the long run. Now, that if I have a history of complex trauma, it may not feel like it's going to be okay yet, but just understand that you do some work on yourself, you get a glimpse of, oh, hey, it might be okay down the road. And that's very important. That's really big. Um, if we do work with multiple clients who are overwhelmed, who are wounded, who are traumatized, we need to get supervision. So Donna, this may not be for you, but who knows? So we need to get good mentoring occasionally. Because if we work with a number of overwhelmed and overwhelming clients, of course we're going to get triggered from time to time. That's natural. It happens to the best of us. When there is big stress, we are going to regress, right? So just being gentle with ourselves, leaning into the support, receiving supervision, having somebody with whom I can say, that was really hard, help, please help. Giving ourselves time and space is important. So if I work with multiple people who are overwhelmed, I need to have a good mentor. I need a practitioner who has experience, who's done a lot of work on themselves too. We need their wisdom. We need their objective perspective. So I understand, getting supervision can be expensive, but it can be very beneficial. I feel more settled. I feel more confident going forward in working with occasional difficult people or difficult situations with people. Um, so personally, I offer mentoring services. So I've been doing this work, as I mentioned, for 19 years. So I'm fortunate that I can offer mentoring to people along different lines. Whether it's astrology, nervous system repair, yeah, working with groups even. I offer mentoring in those areas. So reach out, let me know if that interests you. So, yeah, so doing some work on ourselves is really important. Can I bring more awareness and consciousness to my own process? We all have these adaptive defenses, and thank goodness. They help me to survive. They help me to get through a possibly difficult childhood, for instance. Um, all of these adaptive defenses come with gifts and challenges. So do I understand why these defense mechanisms are here? Can I bring more compassion for myself, for my younger parts? Can I have more compassion for my healing process? Can I get clearer around my own biography? When we understand more about these early adaptive defenses, then I can start to understand these early unmet developmental needs that, some of my needs were met and some were not met. And maybe there was some disruptions or some wounding that happened. So we can understand that better. And then forgiveness and compassion become a lot easier for us. When we understand the map of our psyche, then moving forward with ourselves is a lot easier. And then working with overwhelmed clients becomes easier as well. So as we move towards wrapping up this section, yeah, so we really need to start with ourselves. If I work with someone with trauma, I have to take care of myself in a decent manner. If I'm neglecting doing my own personal growth work, there's a good chance I'm stunting my own growth. And clients feel this. They feel this in the resonance. So if we are trauma therapists, if we work with overwhelmed people on a regular basis, we really need to walk our own talk. We need to do our own work. So working with people who have this kind of early wounding can be a very rewarding, a very beneficial job, very beneficial work. Um, Helping people to renegotiate trauma is such a beautiful process. If you know what you're doing, if you have those skills, it's really, I mean, you're helping people to change their lives. I mean, it can be very life-changing for some. To liberate that stuck psychic energy. Then we have more spontaneity. Once we feel a sense of safety, then we can play. We can have a sense of humor. We can experience joy a lot more easier. So this is all really important. And so it is possible to stay grounded in spite of everything. But in this day and age today, there are many distractions, as I mentioned. So it takes discipline, and we really need support. We really need to lean into support. And ideally, can I commit to having some form of daily practice as well? So, it's possible to feel fed and nourished by my own self-care, my own practice of self-care. And hopefully I have some community or some practitioners who also help to support me as well. So yeah, so that is the long version of what it means to stay grounded, to practice quality self-care, and especially in the context of working with overwhelm. Um, yeah, so questions here, Donna. So I went over a lot of good stuff there.
Oh, and I started taking notes.
Beautiful. I saw that. Yeah, I'm so glad.
I think your comment of everyone needing a sense of safety,
Yeah.
and that applies to me and we, as is
Uh-huh.
the popular thing now, me, we,
Uh-huh.
for me and for us together. That really Alzheimer's and dementia people have severe fear of because they know
Yeah.
what's happening to them on a very basic level, and
Yeah.
I can feel it when I'm with them. Go shopping and they wander off. They don't know where they are, but
Mm.
they don't want to tell you that they were lost. They don't
Right.
want it's and you're standing there for half an hour. You know,
Mm.
it is testing me, and so I really heard what you said about um, quality self care and
Yeah. Yeah.
bringing consciousness to healing myself along with whatever process I'm in. So this was very good for me, and I can see now why I tuned in.
Yeah, I'm so glad. And right, yeah. Caretaker trauma, as I mentioned, the vicarious trauma thing, the secondary overwhelm is very common. Of course, nurses and professional caretakers, someone who's working in like an elder care situation, they really need to practice good self-care. But
Interestingly
yeah,
enough, in
yeah,
my job, my paying job, I have lots of jobs, but in real estate, you would not believe how many trauma experiences arise and
yeah,
bring out old things, family issues. It's huge.
yeah,
It's a huge part of it, and many times you end up taking the burden on your shoulders because everybody's coming in on everybody and you're the person in the middle. So I actually never saw it that way clearly until you stated this about there's different levels of trauma and you do absorb it.
yeah.
And I will say that I do have my self-care routine. It's called my morning mile and daily dig.
Oh, nice, nice.
Walk for a mile every morning. Everybody can take the time to do it. If you don't have the time, get up half hour earlier and go in the dark and take your flashlight because it. I've been doing it for 2 years and it is unbelievable what a difference it's made in my life. And my daily dig, I'm a digger. You're either
Hmm.
a non-digger or a digger, a gardener or not a gardener. I'm a digger, and if I can dig in that dirt, and I was telling you, it's so hot I can't get out there, and I
Yeah,
can feel the difference in my life because I can't dig right now. So anyway,
yeah,
thank you, Kirby.
yeah.
I've got stuff happening right now, so I'm going to have to leave. But
Oh,
I'm
great.
glad
Well,
you tuned in. I'm very glad that I am on your email list. So thank you. Thank you
oh,
very much.
absolutely. Yeah, and thanks for being here. And yeah, have a good rest of your day. Okay, take
Okay.
care.
Bye bye.
Bye. And so that's a good place to wrap up this discussion group. Of course, hopefully you can attend future discussion groups. Bring your questions there, and yeah, I look forward to hearing from you.